Welcome back, everybody, to Small Reviews, and today we're going to talk about Deadpool and Wolverine. So, I went to go see Deadpool and Wolverine recently, and I had about middling expectations for it. I didn't expect it to be, like, considerably great because, well, Marvel's kind of in the toilet right now. But I expected it to be a good film based on the track record of the Deadpool movies, the fact that it's really hard to mess up Deadpool, I feel like, and the fact that we got Wolverine in this. Like, come on, who doesn't love us some Wolverine? Like, ching. Who doesn't love us some Hugh Jackman wearing spandex? But it, I felt like it could have been a miss, especially with Disney acquiring 20th Century Fox since the last Deadpool movie had been made. Maybe it wasn't gonna be as funny. Maybe it wasn't gonna be as violent. Maybe there weren't gonna be as many fourth wall breaks that people cared about. But I was wrong. This movie is fun the whole way through. I never really got bored with it, and I find myself getting bored with parts of movies a lot now, especially when they're part of a bigger franchise. I feel like bigger studios like Marvel think that once you actually start investing in the plot, you gotta have this time where we talk about all this stuff and some downtime where we just really are getting plot dumps, like lore dumps the whole time, and it's like we want to know, but there's better ways to convey this, and sometimes they just kind of fall flat, and that part of the movie is boring. But in Deadpool and Wolverine, mostly no. Most of the movie is fun the whole way through. I enjoyed it the whole time. I felt myself laughing a lot in this, which I don't laugh a lot at movies unless it's really funny like this, or I don't really cry at movies, show emotion at movies. But this one had me laughing, so I knew there was some good comedy in there. I love the fourth wall breaks, I love the cameos, and I love the fighting. Those are the main three things I would say this movie like hinges on. The plot is not one of them. It is the comedy, the fighting, and the cameos. Those are the most important things to this movie. If you don't have a single one of those, it's okay. If you don't have two of those, then it's a bad movie. Starting with the cameos, because I'm just excited to talk about those. I mean, we had Chris Evans come back as the Human Torch, which was crazy, yo. I did not expect that. When I saw him at first standing on that billboard stand, I definitely thought that was Captain America. They tried to play us with like the little red and white armband. People were definitely like, yo, that's gotta be Cap. That's gotta be. Nah, man. He came down, and then once Deadpool said, oh, he's gonna say it, I was like, wait a second. Got the Human Torch. Yo, it's the Human. Flame on. I was excited, bro. I was excited. I wasn't that excited, like right there. That was actually more excited than in the movies, but I was excited. But then I was actually really interested when we went from there where they met the Human Torch, and I noticed I skipped the plot. I don't really care about the plot. But when we went from the Human Torch, they got captured and stuff, and then they got brought to Cassandra. I was really interested in Cassandra's character because I didn't expect her to be in here at all. Like Charles Xavier's sister that we know nothing about because she's in none of the movies, in the Void. Like it makes sense, but I didn't think that they were gonna do that. So that was really cool, and she led to some interesting body horror scenes. I don't know if it made me a little squeamish, but for the strong-hearted and strong-stomached, maybe you can tolerate it more. I didn't throw up, but it definitely leaves you queasy. There's a lot of blood, a lot of gore in the movie, a lot of not bloody gore too. That way of Cassandra, I would say I like that horror aspect of it the most. Like seeing Cassandra like mess around in people's heads. It's like crazy. That was cool. That was a different type of horror that I haven't seen in a while. And it left me feeling some type of way. So if you're weak to that type of stuff, watch out for this. Or close your eyes and like pretend it's not there. But in terms of other cameos, yo, we had my boy Gambit come in, and he was played by Channing Tatum. And if you know anything about that, Channing Tatum was kind of supposed to play Gambit at one point or another, like after some of the Wolverine movies came out, but the project never actually got made. So it leads to one of my favorite lines in the film when everybody in the void is going over, and now I'll list down some of the other cameos. We got Blade. Wesley Snipes says Blade in here. You know, the crowd had to cheer when that one came on. We got Elektra. I don't know who's actress, I should say. I don't know who plays that. But we had Elektra, and then we had Gambit. And now they're all going down the list of like where they're from. They're like, oh yeah, I'm from here, I'm from there. Like Elektra, Blade talking, and Gambit's like, yeah, I think I was born here. And I'm like, I was dying because it's just, I love that moment because it's a fourth wall break and reference in and of itself in a way, like without turning at the camera and saying it directly. It's like, yeah, we know we didn't make this movie, but we wish we could have, and so does he. But it's not getting made. And this was referencing that, I thought was just hilarious, and one of the best parts of the movie for me. This movie had tons of great cameos though, but other than the cameos, had a great comedy. Like all the fighting between Wolverine and Deadpool, it was truly like a buddy cop film, which I feel like was great. Because in the other films, you definitely had Deadpool working off of other people. Like you had Deadpool and Colossus, you had Deadpool and whoever the little teenage girl was that was like a punk rock person. You had her. You had other people for Deadpool to work off of, and this was like no exception. With Wolverine, Hugh Jackman, they were a great duo, yo, and I just loved it. But honestly, the fighting, I had heard that the fighting and the cameos were great going in. The fighting did not disappoint, yo. There's a lot of fighting in this film, actually. Like, kind of like a Jujutsu Kaisen level of fighting, honestly. Like, I know it's a superhero film, but like, it really felt more like fighting, like a shonen, or like just fighting in general, as opposed to like, we gotta save the world from something. It was like, nah, we just gotta beat people up. Like the whole way, it's like whether it's Wolverine and Deadpool fighting, whether it's Deadpool and Deadpool fighting, whether it's Wolverine and Deadpool fighting Deadpools. There's a lot of Deadpools fighting. But no matter what, it's like no matter who they're fighting, all the fighting looks good. All the sets look amazing. Explosions everywhere. Body parts falling off. It was great. I mean, you just gotta see it. You just gotta see it. And it leads to some of my favorite action shots, like having the Deadpool and Wolverine versus the other Deadpools. That shot so cool with the way they scroll from one side of the screen to the other. I also feel like the cast size was great because we never actually forgot about anybody, and it was small enough cast where you know what's going on, but big enough where you feel like the world is expanding also, like in the characters you meet. Only thing I would say though is the TSA felt like, I don't know why they were there. This whole plot could have happened without the TSA. It feels like the villain, quote unquote, the villain of the movie really was kind of, and that's why it kind of falls on Cassandra to be the villain. But even then, it feels like she's not totally the villain. It feels like she's misunderstood, and that the real problem with the plot is like, oh, just it's like a problem plot where it's like we have to solve this problem, not a person, because it's just, I didn't care much for the plot, but I love the comedy and the action within it. And as for that, I would actually say for once, I watched some of the trailers going into this, maybe like the first and the second one. This was one time in a while, in a very long while, that I didn't really know the plot of the movie like that. I didn't read any extra stuff. I didn't look for more about the movie. But this was the first time in a while where where the trailers didn't give away everything. Like I felt like I was seeing new stuff as I watched the film. Like the cameos, if it wasn't for the internet, I wouldn't have known none of them. The plot, I really didn't know anything other than Deadpool is with Wolverine. So I feel like they did a great job with the trailers for this film, actually, and I want a whole bunch of other people to follow suit with this. Please, please do not tell us the whole movie in the first minutes of the trailer. No, don't do that. But basically, I love this movie. It has a bunch of great, memorable moments, I feel like. A bunch of funny moments. It's a movie that you can put on and just like chill, watch, laugh on a Friday evening, weekend, and just like kind of get taken away from everything. It's a cool movie in that it's just gonna make you laugh and make you follow the characters and fall in love with the characters. And honestly, I hope that we can get more of these type of movies where not multiverse driven. I don't want any more multiverse driven movies, please. After Doomsday and after Secret Wars, I don't really want any more multiverse stuff. I don't even really want those. But I know we can get some cool moments from those, and they're already being worked on. So who cares what I think? But I hope that this starts like focusing more on the characters in movies and like actually what people kind of care about the characters with, instead of just like using each movie as a plot device to get from this movie to the next movie to the next movie, which some of this movie sadly feels like they do a little bit in terms of getting Deadpool ready a little bit for the MCU. You can kind of tell. And even then, they do it in such a way where it feels less like boring lore dumps and plot devices. Instead, they use it with comedy. Because, like, why is Thor crying over Deadpool? Why is Thor crying over Deadpool? I want to know. Deadpool, no, Ryan Reynolds knows. Why don't I? I want to know. I watched the movie. I want to know why Thor's crying. But we're going to have to wait, like, till 7 years from now, a decade from now, when other movies come out to figure out why Thor's crying. If that's even going to be a thing. But even with stuff like that, that was done much better in this movie, I would say, because it can be focused on with comedy as opposed to just making it boring. And Deadpool and Ryan Reynolds, they bring such a lighthearted air to the film that it's easier to get away with that stuff because they're always talking over it. It is always funny, or most of the time it's funny. So with that being said, I hope that we start getting better Marvel movies. This gave me a little bit of hope. Probably not going to see the next one. Next one's Captain America, Brave New World. I don't expect much from that, I'm gonna be honest. But tell me what you guys think, and tell me what you thought of this movie. Let me know in the comments. Leave a like, subscribe, and I'll catch y'all later. Peace.